Hello, Scorpio, and welcome to your reading. These will be your intuitive insights and advice for the month of February 2022. And this reading will be for Scorpio Sun, Moon, and Rising. And as always, this reading will be general in nature, so not necessarily all of the messages that come through will pertain to your specific situation. So I do highly recommend that you take anything and everything that resonates for you, and also keep an open mind to the other ideas and concepts that are coming through, being willing to take with you into the month of February anything that you feel like might be beneficial for you, and simply leave the rest. I hope you guys are all doing well and that your year is off to a great start. I am super excited to be here reading for you today. And as you can see, we've got your 3 oracle cards that have come out already. I shuffled off camera and these were the 3 that jumped out for you. So we're going to do I'm going to start off actually with some channeled messages. So I sat kind of in silence and just channeled information to see what would come through. So I'll read those and kind of explain that to you. I will read your oracle cards. Then we will pull some tarot and some clarifiers and finish off with some affirmation cards just to tie everything together. So it is my hope that I can connect you with some empowering information and insights to help you connect more deeply to yourself and the world around you, and to step into the month of February feeling prepared to make the absolute most of the energy that will be coming in. And yeah, so I guess we'll start off with the channeled insights. So I will say I'm just kind of doing this for fun. And for my own personal practice. And I'm curious to see if any of this will resonate with you guys, and maybe even might be reflected in the theme of the cards as we pull them out. So yes, keep in mind, this might be very, very specific in nature. It might only make sense to like a very select few of you. It may not resonate for you at all. That's totally fine. Just bear with me. So the first thing that came in was cigarettes or cigarette smoke. So I don't know if cigarettes in specific are something that are meaningful to you. Maybe you smoke, maybe you used to smoke, maybe cigarette smoke in particular, like the smell of it means something to you. The other thing that kind of came to mind was like, maybe there's a specific loved one that used to smoke, maybe somebody that's passed on, and maybe you and your family or the people around you will smell cigarette smoke in instances where no one's smoking, and it's kind of like a sign that that loved one is around, their presence, their energy is around you, if that makes sense to you. The next thing that came to mind was grandma's perfume. So that could be a similar situation in terms of smelling a grandmother's perfume. Somebody who's passed on. It could be a connection to your grandmother, and maybe something that's come up in conversation. I'm not sure, how that might make sense for you. The next thing that came to me was alphabet, and like alphabet soup. So I'm not sure. It could be, it's like cold and flu season. Maybe that's like a comfort remedy for you. Maybe you were reminiscing about your childhood. Something like that. The next thing was ogre. So, however, that might, it could be like an inside joke. It could also be related to Shrek, the movie. I have no idea. That was kind of like bizarre. And then the next thing that came to me was fundamentalism. And so fundamentalism is, it's kind of like an extreme take, often, like quite often on like a religious set of beliefs. So it can be like taking the scripture literally word for word, and it can be like very focused on like literal transcription, living the word, like it's like of the Lord or whatever, of God. And a lot of times, yeah, it's very strict. It's very closed in, and it can sometimes be really dangerous because people end up being really close-minded to the life and experiences of other people, and can be really close-minded to, the variety of options and the ways of living. So it can be kind of, I don't want to be mean, but it can be a kind of ignorant attitude. So that might be something that you come up against, or it might be something that you're dealing with either in a religious context or just in a sense of beliefs, like really, really sticking strongly to the very core basic principles and not considering anything outside of that. So maybe having like a kind of closed off, boxed in view, either yourself or people you're dealing with. The next thing I got is grocery shopping. I'm not sure if that is something that's important to you, something that you enjoy. Maybe it's something that you've been putting off, something that's on your mind. That was just kind of the things that came through for Scorpio. Like, I feel like I got a lot of like really productive stuff for other people. And the stuff that came through for Scorpio, I was not really fully understanding. So I hope that these have significance to you. The next phrase that came through is, I am not sure. So you may very well be in a position like currently or coming into this month where you've got some kind of challenge or situation that you're not quite sure how to navigate. Maybe you don't know what to do. And so you could be kind of looking for some clarity. That could be your point of focus this month. The other thing that came to mind is significant other. So there may be something related to your relationship, whether you're currently in a relationship, whether you have left a relationship or you're trying to call one in. Maybe you're not sure about your significant other. Maybe you're not sure what they need. Maybe there's some kind of lack of clarity or needs not being met in relationship. So that's up to you how that will apply. That won't be for everyone. And then the next thing that came in was energetic alignment. And so I think like in terms of the people around you, maybe you're in a place or maybe you're coming into a place where you're looking to connect with people who are on a similar level, maybe people who have a similar outlook, similar values, maybe the same kinds of hobbies or interests. And it could even, so energetic alignment, it could even be like an attitude thing. Like maybe if you're an optimist in a sea of pessimists, maybe those kinds of interactions and relationships are drowning you. And maybe you're looking to connect with somebody who has a similar outlook so that you can feel as though you've got more alignment in your relationships. And that might be something that's important to you this month. The next thing that came to mind was Mexico or like Mexicana. That could be the place, the destination, maybe maybe a part of your heritage. It might be somewhere that you have traveled or are wanting to travel or dreaming about traveling to. It could also be like Mexican, because Mexicana, it could be like Mexican food, Mexican culture, like, yeah, like, I don't know, taco night just came into my mind. Like, I don't know, maybe taco night is important to you. Or like, that's something that you're trying to incorporate regularly, is like a bonding thing with other people. I don't know. And then the last thing that came to mind was overweight. And like the sense that I got from it, it was not like a sense of reality. It's not like, being morbidly obese and really like gravely needing to lose weight. It was more of like a self-criticism. Like, maybe you're struggling with your weight, maybe you're struggling with body image, maybe just losing weight is something that you would like to do for your health, and it's not that you're feeling badly about yourself, but it is a point of focus. So that could be something that's important to you this month. And it could be more figuratively as well, like overweight. So maybe you are feeling like things are pretty heavy. Maybe you've got a lot on your plate, a lot of tasks, a lot of responsibilities. Maybe you've taken on a little bit more than you can handle right now, and you might need some help or support or to delegate some tasks because there's just kind of like too much on your shoulders. So that will depend on your own unique situation, how that resonates for you. So we'll get into reading your cards. So your first card is Starseed, and it says, what lights you up? All right, let's take a look. Next, we have Bixbite. Oh, this came out for another sign. I don't remember which one it was. Bixbite. And finally, Collaborative Dreaming. All right, so I'm going to start with Starseed. That is a very spiritual concept. It's a spiritual idea. Not a lot of people that aren't already kind of connected to the spiritual community or like kind of in that wheelhouse know about star seeds. So because this has come up, I would recommend that you do some research, just read about the concepts, about the qualities of different star seeds, see if there's anything that resonates with you, even just, just for pure entertainment. Because it's not necessarily something that you really have to commit to believing. But the concept of starseed. So I think like whether you relate to starseed or not, and whether that is a spiritual concept that like resonates with you or not, at its very basic level, even if you just break it down in the most practical sense, it's the idea that the energy of you and who you are, you have like a twofold path here while you are living this human existence, right? And so your purpose here is not only to live your own life and to kind of work on your own personal and spiritual development and kind of like the evolution of yourself and your soul, but it's also to kind of like elevate and do the same for those around you and allow them to connect with that energy as well. And so a lot of times starseed energy is like it's healing in nature. So you might take on some kind of healing role, maybe a mentor or teacher kind of role. You might be connecting people with something that is healing in nature or something that allows them to connect more deeply with themselves. So basically, it's the idea that you've got a very unique personality, you've got very unique traits and skills, and you are here to honor that. You're here to honor that and to live that and to express that and share that with other people. And whatever that is for you, whatever it is that you feel is like your heart's calling and like the thing that really, or things that like really make sense to you, that you just naturally feel drawn to doing, or you have like a very deep connection to without really necessarily understanding why. It's like that is your purpose, and your purpose is really to honor yourself by stepping fully into that and expressing that, and not only for your highest good and not only so that you can benefit from it and you will grow and experience new levels of happiness, but also for the sake of other people. So not only is what you're doing really beneficial to you, but it's beneficial to other people, maybe groups of other people. There are people out there who need what you're providing and what you're doing. However that applies to you, it's going to be unique to each and every individual. And so sometimes the hardest part is really kind of recognizing and accepting whatever it is that you're being called to do. And so with the question, what lights you up? It's basically saying like, what are you passionate about? What are you interested in? What are you curious about? What do you feel kind of like naturally drawn to do? Even if it's something kind of out of the norm, even if, you went to school for something specific and this has absolutely nothing to do with it, it's basically saying that like, especially if it's something that's been a theme for you, right? So it's like something that you're kind of curious about, something that kind of like keeps coming, even if it's something that keeps coming up, right? So if there's like a trend that it's like, there's a certain topic, there's a certain subject, there's a certain practice that like keeps coming up, you keep hearing it or you read about it, or it just like, it keeps manifesting in your environment, and it's like, and every time you see it, you're like, that's interesting. And it kind of like resonates with you, but you may or may not be willing to kind of connect with it or take action on it. And the other thing that I will say is that sometimes this thing that your heart is calling you to do, and that thing that like sparks your curiosity or that you're interested in, you might not know anything about it. You might be really far away from it. It might seem like it's not feasible. And you might even have doubt about your ability to do it, whether it's like cultivating a certain skill, whether it would require going to school, or totally like finding a different career, or whatever the case may be. Like you might have doubts about your ability to do it, and you might think that you're not capable of connecting with it or being successful at it. And literally those are just fears. It's not true. It's not reality, because if it's coming into your existence and you are recognizing and feeling kind of drawn to it, then there is a reason. And it's basically even the first step of just honoring yourself. Like if there is something that you're curious about, you're not going to lose out by, allowing yourself to connect with it. Maybe doing a little bit of reading, maybe connecting with somebody who's already doing it, or if you know what it is, just further stepping into it. And even if it has to be something that's like your own personal practice or something that you do on your own time, just to start off, it's something that will be beneficial to you and to others and has the opportunity to grow into something big if you would like it to. You don't have to, but I think there's like that beautiful opportunity for you to just start connecting with that and honoring it. So it's basically, this month is about asking yourself, like, what is it that lights you up? What makes you excited? What intrigues you? What interests you? And how can you kind of step into that energy? And it goes really nicely, honestly, with this collaborative dreaming card, because part of this collaborative dreaming also aligns with the fact that, yeah, you're meant to be here doing something that benefits yourself and others. And even if you've been a lone wolf, or even if you've been doing a lot on your own and you have like individual endeavors and ways that you're successful and you're kind of sharing your light with the world, this is really speaking highly to collaboration. It might be with one other individual, it might be with an entire group of individuals, but it's basically saying that, like, collaborating with, if you can get into this energy and embrace it, especially, you'll be able to more easily and readily recognize that in other people, and you'll be able to start connecting with and collaborating with people who are kind of on the same page, who have a similar outlook, maybe similar goals. Obviously, they're going to bring their own unique skills and perspective to any given situation, but you'll be able to start identifying maybe people that you would like to collaborate with. And that whole process, whatever you're undertaking, whatever you're creating, whatever you're collaborating on, the process of working together and collaborating is not only going to help you evolve and learn and grow and expand, but also the other person, in addition to whatever it is that you're creating and putting out into the world, that is going to be just as helpful and expansive for other people, even if you're not doing it on a huge scale and it's just like a niche thing that only certain people might be interested in or impacted by, or even if it's something huge, right? So there is really the possibility for everyone to benefit, and it can be like almost like a really symbiotic relationship. But the other thing with collaborative dreaming that must be said is that obviously working with other people can be challenging, right? Because we're all our own unique selves and we have our own perspectives and our own needs and desires. And really, that's why it's important to know yourself very well, to connect with who you are at your core and to be able to trust that, so that you can make decisions from the heart, because that will allow you to stay true to yourself when you're working in a collaborative setting, and not to be overrun by the group as a whole if you're working with multiple people, or the other individual that you're working with if it's just one. And also it'll make it easier for you to discern, so whatever goal you're working towards or whatever you're working to create, it'll make it easier to discern like when to kind of bend and compromise and allow room for other people's perspective, and maybe it's not like what you feel is best, and knowing like when it's okay to kind of bend a little bit and compromise, and when you really need to stand firm in your own energy and your own inspiration, and knowing what is right. And so it's kind of like being able to pick your battles. And then also, if you end up in a group environment where maybe like it's 4 against 1, it's knowing, it's having that good connection to yourself and that sense of self, that you are not going to be overrun by the majority, and you're not going to compromise your integrity or your vision for the sake of the group, right? So it's knowing, it's being able to trust. And the other thing is, when you're working with groups, or just other individuals, when you're collaborating, naturally there will be some moments of friction. There might be misunderstandings. There might be opposing viewpoints. There might be, like, working collaboratively has a really wonderful way of bringing up the things, either like from our childhood, from our past, any kind of wounds that we carry about our value and what we have to offer in a group setting, and our voice being heard and like feeling understood. And then it can also have to do with responsibility. So sometimes that can cause friction, like taking responsibility for your share or someone else's share of the workload and, you know, that kind of stuff. So like quite often there can be really difficult moments. There can be arguments. There can be moments of friction. And it's understanding that that is really part and parcel with the whole collaborative process. It's totally normal. It's totally natural. It's not a sign that you're doing something wrong or that you're on the wrong path or anything of that nature. If anything, it's actually just confirmation that this collaborative process is giving you a wonderful opportunity to recognize and heal these things, and for the other person as well. And that being open to those moments of friction, working through it, and actually being able to challenge that energy channel that energy into the creative process and use it instead of allowing it to really derail you on an emotional level, that is going to be a huge part of how successful you're going to be or how quickly you're going to be able to move forward. And it also goes hand in hand with the fact that it's important to be heart-centered when you're collaborating with others, and to know that just because you've entered into a collaborative arrangement with someone or like multiple people, it doesn't mean that you're meant to see every project through to completion. You might only be part of the process for a short period of time. You might come in the middle just for a small period, and then, you know, you can contribute whatever it is that you were meant to contribute, and then you step away, right? So it's not... also not feeling as though you have to overcommit your time and energy if you feel like the collaborative process, the direction of the group or the project no longer aligns or isn't representative of what you feel is like most important to you. So if you are in some kind of collaboration and you're wondering if it's right for you or if you should stay in it, it's really just trusting your heart, you know, what your heart tells you about what is most important, what you're trying to achieve. You've got the answer to that yourself. But yeah, it's just understanding that like some collaborations and some experiences with people are really short and quick and wonderful. Sometimes they're really awful and they're things that we don't want to repeat again. Sometimes they're for the longer term and we're apart from, you know, inception to completion. And it's like a really wonderful vehicle for growth. But however intense or enjoyable, however long or short the interaction is, it's just really important to be in touch with yourself so that you know what you're meant to be doing, what you're meant to be investing, and you can make the decision that is best for you individually, and that will benefit you and the other individuals in the long run, and the project itself as well. So also, just with dreaming in general, you might be somebody who dreams a lot, has really vivid dreams. It could be that you actually receive information through dreams, maybe even like in a spiritual sense. I don't know if you're a spiritual person or you believe in that, but dreams might be significant to you. There might also be someone specifically or people that come to you in dreams. I just thought I would mention that. It's kind of interesting. And with Big Spite here, this is all about drive and passion and courage and being unafraid to really like drive forward and move toward your goal. And when I say that, it is very much, that same like passionate, heart-centered energy, something that is meaningful and authentic. It is not really super caught up in, you know, like the day-to-day and like a taskmaster kind of energy where you're really consumed with like all of the things that you have to accomplish. It is really allowing your passion and creativity to thrive and to drive you forward, and being willing to share and express that without concern, without fear. And the other part of this is also being willing to connect with the people around you, with your relationships, right? So it's being willing to kind of, step out of the day-to-day grind, like put your to-do list away. Don't focus so much on all of these like chores that you have to get done, or when it comes to work, all of these work tasks, and make sure that you're taking time for your relationships. Make sure that you're taking time to like really truly connect with the people around you, enjoy their time, enjoy their presence, and share that love, share quality time, and really take time to appreciate that, because sitting in that loving energy, experiencing that love is really just going to help you connect more deeply with your own heart center, which is what is meant to drive you and help you align with what is most important to you. And so it's really important to make room for that love in your life and in your experience so that you can see all of the love that you're surrounded by, and you can connect with that and channel that into whatever outlet it is that you've got, whatever creative kind of thing is on your plate. I don't know. It's really cool. Okay, so your first tarot card, we've got 7 of Wands. Okay, let's get another one. Okay, your next card is the Knight of Pentacles. I feel like I've been seeing the Knight of Pentacles in a lot of readings lately. Okay, let's see. Okay, so for your next, you actually got 2 cards for your next one. All right, let's get one more card. The Moon. And finally, at the bottom of the deck, King of Cups. Oh my gosh, the King of Cups was on the bottom of the deck of the last reading too. We've got like a lot of, these last few readings have had a lot of like similar energies and themes, so that's kind of neat. Might be like a collective thing, like we're all kind of going through similar things in different ways. So, all right. So yeah, what I see here, in terms of your current kind of like energy, there's a definite, I don't know, maybe this is something that you're currently focused on or you're trying to cultivate for yourself, but like really kind of getting your attitude right, like really kind of getting yourself to a place where you've been working on your confidence, you know, feeling confident, feeling stable where you're at, you know, not allowing yourself to be overly influenced by the people around you. And like the 7 of Wands is really, it can be kind of like a tumultuous energy where, you know, maybe the people around you are kind of being critical. Maybe they're poking at you. Maybe they're, you know, they're trying to like knock you off of your kind of peaceful little pedestal there. And that doesn't even, it can be people a lot of times, but it can also be life circumstances. Like maybe you're having a lot of like challenging circumstances and it feels like the world is just trying to like, you know, knock you out of your zen, right? And the takeaway from this card is that it's like, I feel like you've really been working on developing your inner strength and like trying to kind of have a certain level of peace of mind and confidence in your ability to handle situations and whatever life throws your way. And really just trying to stay centered and focused on whatever is most important to you so that you're not easily thrown off either by the people around you who might not be helpful or who might be critical, or by like the experiences of life itself that are challenging. And so yeah, this is like, it's very much about being like centered in your own energy, knowing who you are, knowing what's most important to you, and trying to remain focused on that because you know, like, I feel like maybe not consciously, but I feel like you know what's most important is focusing on you and your own energy and your own self and what it is that you're trying to do and trying to create. And you know that you don't need to be worried about what anyone else is saying or thinking, and that it's not going to serve you to get distracted or to let anyone bring you down, because really you're in a position of power right now. You're kind of like protected in your own space. So I don't see you being knocked down easily. So I kind of feel like you've got, you're pretty resilient. That's the sense that I'm getting. So you're pretty resilient and you're really just trying to focus on cultivating peace and cultivating like stability and like focusing on your passions and being able to connect with that. So you might already have an outlet. You might already have a collaboration in process. There might already be, you know what lights you up and what you're trying to do and create, or you might be already on the path and you're just trying to deepen your connection to it. Maybe you're broadening your horizons and connecting with new opportunities and new information and things that are important to you. And the challenge is really the day-to-day grind, right? So the challenge is all of the little steps and all of the kind of monotonous tasks and just the non-exciting day-to-day work of bringing your dreams into reality and sharing your light and whatever you have to create with other people. It's like a very slow and steady, constant moving energy, like just consistently, taking the steps forward. It might be a long, slow path. Maybe it's been a long journey to get here. And there's been a need for a lot of focus and really just putting your head down and working. And I think that maybe it's just whatever it is that you're doing, it's exciting and it's meaningful to you. And you know that it's important and you know that there's a really beautiful opportunity, not only for you, but for other people to benefit from it. And I think that's wonderful. And I think maybe the struggle is just the sheer work that needs to be put in, right? And, it's not all exciting. It's not necessarily all glamorous. It's like, this is the idea of like, oh yeah, having your own store is great, especially if you're selling products that are meaningful to you and that you really believe in, and you have the opportunity to be, financially abundant and whatever. But this is the thing of like taxes, right? This is the thing of like, balancing out at the end of each shift and like collecting all the receipts and making sure that everything adds up, and then like paperwork and like stocking shelves, like, and that's a very specific example, but it's like, yeah, it's the tasks that you have to do in order to be successful, in order to build your business, or in order to bring your vision into reality. So it's like, in manifesting your ideas into the physical world, and just the slow, steady action that you have to take, and the amount of focus and time that takes can be really tiring. And it can be really difficult to kind of be inspired to continue along that path when you're doing the more like mundane tasks. So I think the key is to just not get bogged down by the day-to-day. And because the to-do list, it's saying like, put your to-do list aside for a little bit and take time to connect with the people and the love around you, because that's what feeds your fire, right? So that's what feeds your fire and your inspiration, and whatever vision it is that you're working to create, that is your why. And so the people around you, the relationships and the love around you is going to help reconnect you to yourself and your why, which is going to help motivate you through the less exciting tasks and like the day-to-day work. And, you don't have to be working all day, every day. You don't have to constantly be distracted by your to-do list, whether that's just chores around the house or whether that's related to a business or some kind of endeavor. You can budget. I think maybe you need to budget your time a little bit more wisely. And if it's not that you're spending too much time focusing on those things, it might just be that those things are spilling into other areas of your life. So maybe like your kind of recommended energy is like, connect to your happiness, connect to your joy. Like, don't let the monotony and like the stuff that you have to do be like the defining part of your day and get you down. Like, really take the time to connect with joy and happiness, the things that are the most meaningful to you. This is also like, so this card is like the happiest one in the deck. It is all of your happiness. It's the things that feel like sunshine, the people that feel like sunshine. It is like a very youthful energy. It can be about connecting to our inner child, the children in our lives. And because children have the ability to connect us to that childlike energy if we're willing to be really present in the moment with them. And so you might have something to learn from children in your life, or just trying to connect with your own inner child and allowing time for play. So having a little bit more fun, being a little bit more lighthearted, and making sure that you've got that balance. And you're not just focused, you're not just unfocused, you're not scattered, right? So you might have a lot on your plate. Like, there might be a lot of different things that you're kind of balancing between like work and creative endeavors, your personal life, your relationships, your family. It could be anything, but maybe you're feeling really scattered. And you've got so much kind of on the go that it's really difficult to just focus on one thing at a time or do one thing at a time. So it might be just a matter of like budgeting your time a little bit. Now, I'm not going to say better, but budgeting your time more consciously and mindfully, making sure that you're being led by love and happiness and joy, connecting with that so that you don't get bogged down, because that's what inspires you and keeps your flame lit so that you can keep going. And so incorporating that is like the underlying energy to your day. And then, you know, if you have a to-do list, that's all well and fine. It doesn't have to define your life and your day, and it doesn't have to be hanging over your head at all times. So it's maybe being like really intentional. If you do have a to-do list, like maybe choose just the top 2 things like you absolutely have to or want to get done today. And obviously there may still be a need for flexibility because there are always things that are out of our control, but it's like maybe trying to structure things a little bit better so that you don't have responsibilities or tasks or concerns from like one side of life really bleeding into the other, and just making it this like kind of confusing, chaotic area, because you're going to be the most successful when you can be focused. You can focus in on whatever it is that needs to be done. And you can really give that your full time and attention, because you'll be able to accomplish it much more efficiently than if you had a whole bunch of things on your mind, or if you're trying to multitask a lot. And focusing on that one task at a time, yeah, it'll allow you to complete it more quickly and cross it off of your list so you can move on to the next thing, instead of trying to do it and having like a bunch of other stuff on your mind and being distracted. And so it's basically saying like the things that are important to you, the things that you need to do, like make sure you're taking the time that you need each day to tend to those things and to accomplish those things. Obviously, that's important. But yeah, maybe just trying to set like a little bit more boundaries between each individual thing, so that you can really make the most of that time and energy, and you're not just exhausting yourself and feeling like, you know, at the end of the day, like things are still unfinished or chaotic. And like the reality is, like, there may still be things unfinished at the end of the day, and that's okay, because if you are being focused and you're prioritizing what's most important to you, and you're really like giving yourself the opportunity to put your full attention into it, or like maybe making arrangements to create an environment that's going to improve your focus and your ability to kind of just handle one thing at a time, that might like take some of the weight off of you. It might take might make the monotony a little bit easier, and it might help you to kind of connect more with joy and fun. And this is also about having clarity. You know, you have a lot of options, you have a lot of things that you can be focusing on. So it's really about priorities, and really those priorities may shift from day to day. Like one day it might be like work is your main priority, and that really needs most of your attention. And it may be like, hey, today, like I really need to focus on my personal development or my health. Like I really need to exercise and like have a good healthy meal or something, or spend time with my significant other, or whatever the case may be. So your priorities can totally shift from day to day. It's just a matter of checking in with yourself, focusing on what is the most important for you for that day, making sure that that gets done. And then like if you have a list of priorities, then you can start working your way down the list. But yes, I really do sense that you are going to be extremely successful in handling the stuff that's on your plate in the month of February, if you really just, you know, if you allow yourself to kind of shut out the other noise while you're focusing on one thing at a time and making the most of that energy, because these like monotonous things can be energy draining, right? So yeah, and really connecting with that joy, taking time to play. So it's like having a little bit more balance between work and play in your life, and not being so distracted by the things on your to-do list and the things that you have to do for work that you're not actually able to fully be present and enjoy playing or being lighthearted or doing things that are enjoyable or connecting with love. So everything that you do, I would say just strive to be fully present, fully focused, get the absolute most out of it. And if you need to set hard, you know, deadlines or timelines on things to keep yourself organized, you can totally do that. But that's going to be really helpful for you. especially if you're in a place where you've just kind of come into a certain level of emotional stability, like maybe leading up to this, you've been on a bit of an emotional roller coaster. Maybe you've been overwhelmed or struggling, and you finally just kind of gotten to a point where you've been able to really, like, you might not be in the place that you want to be. You might not be super totally happy, but I kind of feel like maybe you've gotten to a place where you finally balanced out your emotions a little bit, and you're feeling a little bit more grounded and able to, able to handle your emotions and the emotions of other people, and like invest in yourself. And like the overall like highest possible outcome for this month is the moon. And the moon is really about the things that exist in our subconscious, and like maybe the things, our fears, the things that are hidden from us, coming to light and being exposed. So it's kind of being willing to see what's under the surface, bring it to the light, and be healed by it. And this, if you are somebody who is spiritual in nature, if you have an interest in spirituality, or even just purely like it's personal development, this is going to allow you to become a little bit more conscious of what's going on under the surface, whether it's emotions, it might be connecting to your intuition and being able to really kind of connect with whatever it is that inspires you and you feel your purpose is. But it's kind of like a really beautiful energy, and like you might come to some kind of realization as a result of kind of embracing all of this. It might really it might bring something new about yourself into your awareness. It might kind of change your perspective, and it might also offer the opportunity for any kind of fears that are kind of lurking under the surface to come to light, for you to be able to see how those have been influencing you and impacting your life, and to be able to kind of like heal and release from those things, so that you can kind of bring your life further into balance. So we're going to clarify each of these cards. So we'll start with the Seven of Wands. Okay, Seven of Wands, you have the Star. Right, now the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, we have the Four of Cups. And for the Sun, we have the Five of Wands. Right, and finally Seven of Cups. We have the Father of Cups, which is the King of Cups, and we have the King of Cups here. And then for the Moon, we have Seven of Swords, and the bottom of the deck is the Five of Cups. Yeah, so I feel like your emotions, the way that you experience the world through your emotions, maybe the things that are hurtful or challenging or difficult, have really had a big influence on where you're at right now. And that might be your motivating factor, like dealing with those emotions and being able to cultivate a little bit more happiness and fulfillment in your life has been a major area of focus. And this is going to help you kind of continue connecting with and healing that energy. Because I do get a sense that you're coming from this place of like, maybe you were really struggling. Maybe you were really focused on lack, or, all of the things that are missing in your life, all of the things that are going wrong, or, the ways that you are missing out on opportunity or love. Like, it's a very kind of limited approach that can be sadness. It can be depression. It's just, there's a certain amount of struggle associated with it. And with the Seven of Wands, like I said, kind of having that inner peace and that stability and like the focus on yourself and keeping yourself in a good space, that's associated with the Star. And the Star is all about hope and healing and really being able to connect with our inner strength to not only handle the difficult situations as they come, but also to undertake our healing. So anything that's been difficult, challenging, hurtful, whether it's an experience, whether it's a loss, whether it is simply just our attitude or our mindset or our beliefs that are limiting us. The star is about having the courage to work through those things, acknowledge them and heal from them, even if it is a little bit difficult, but then also to connect with hope and the reality that, you know, there are a lot of opportunities for happiness. And so like I kind of like those energies like working together, because I feel like you're just kind of coming into this energy where you're starting to reconnect with hope, and maybe you're reconnecting with your inspiration and the world of opportunity that's available to you after stepping out of this like heavier energy. And with the Knight of Pentacles here and that like very practical, long, slow process of bringing your dreams into reality and just doing the work, with the Four of Cups being there, it's like I do sense that maybe there has been whatever it is that you've been working on. There has been like maybe a little bit of a sense of disillusionment, maybe a little bit of apathy. Maybe you're not feeling as excited or as connected as you hoped to or you once did. So maybe like emotionally you're just feeling kind of worn down and like your cup was a bit empty, and maybe this thing that you've been focusing on isn't going to be as fruitful as you thought or you hoped. And I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think that's just probably a result of this difficult emotional energy that you've been working through. And so it's important like not to let the grind get you down and kind of deplete you on an emotional level, or you know, impede or influence negatively your beliefs about happiness and fulfillment when it comes to whatever it is that you're doing. And with the Five of Wands here, it's like you might have to fight a little bit for your happiness. Not necessarily like fight others, but you might just have to fight yourself, right? To fight yourself, to fight your beliefs, maybe like your habitual patterns, or, you know, maybe the limiting beliefs that you're working to let go of. You might have to kind of fight yourself to let go of that and to kind of stay in a higher energy. And it's also like if you're experiencing resistance from the people around you, it's also, you know, being able to continue staying in your light and connecting with your joy and your purpose and your reason for doing things, making time for happiness so that you don't get kind of like knocked off your knocked off balance. And because like if you're trying to elevate yourself and focus on what's important to you and you allow yourself to get knocked down, then you're going to be at somebody else's level, and that's not necessarily going to be serving you. So it's important to like do what you need to do to stay up, prioritize yourself, and, you know, just have the courage to keep going, even if, you know, things are a little bit difficult right now, knowing that eventually like they will improve. With the Father of Cups here under the Seven of Cups, it's really just saying that like when you are assessing the things that you need to get done and the options that are in front of you and maybe setting your priorities, I think it's important not to be overly like technical or logical about it, overly analytical. Like obviously if there's things that are unavoidable that need to get done, those should be prioritized, but it's also being willing to prioritize based on how you're feeling, right? Like what your emotional capacity is, you know, if you've got certain needs that need to be fulfilled, like you might very well need to put off something practical on your to-do list in order to tend to yourself based on how you're feeling. So it's really trusting your ability to discern what priorities should kind of rank at the top, and that the key to that is really within you, within your heart, within your emotions, and you can really trust yourself to feel things out and know that you will make the best decision. You don't have to put a bunch of pressure on yourself to be overly logical, because this month really very much is about connecting to your feelings and to love, opportunities for happiness and fulfillment and joy and having fun, and that's totally okay. And your decisions and priorities can also be led from that place, because I think you're capable of being stable enough to weigh all of your options and make smart decisions for yourself. So you don't have to follow the path of like productivity and doing as much as you can as quickly as you can, because if you really feel like that's not best for you and that doesn't align, then you're probably right. And so it's just about honoring yourself throughout that process. And with the Seven of Swords here under the moon, that really does give me the impression that, you know, perhaps there are specific thoughts or specific beliefs, or maybe even a perspective on life that doesn't necessarily serve you. It might be limiting, it might be hurtful, it might be disempowering, it might kind of risk, your inner peace and your happiness. And so I kind of get the sense that by allowing yourself to step more into your own energy, to trust yourself, to trust your emotions and your intuition, and to kind of connect with that and really honor what you're feeling and what you need, and knowing that you can still take action day by day, knowing that you can still handle the practical side of life, but also create a little bit more room for yourself and honor yourself and your feelings, that by coming more into that energy, I think you're going to see that the way that you've been approaching things that maybe has been denying yourself, or maybe you haven't been as connected to yourself, it's going to bring a lot of things to light. Like there might be a specific reason. There might be something related to your childhood or a past relationship, something that someone said to you, a belief system that was ingrained in you. There might be something that was kind of keeping you in this energy where you were denying yourself, or, kind of like shutting off from your own inner wisdom and not really letting yourself acknowledge that is a feasible way to move through the world. And I think that once you start getting more into that energy and you see the positive impact that it's going to have, and that you can still have the balance and productivity that you have been striving for, I think it's going to bring, these kind of damaging, limiting beliefs and experiences to light, right? And I think it's going to be offering you the opportunity to really release, and in releasing those things that are not you, that you have picked up and that are not helpful to you, it's going to allow you to connect more deeply with your emotions. Your subconscious will come more into your awareness, right? So you'll be maybe a little bit more conscious about how you're feeling, what you're doing, the decisions that you're making, and why, rather than operating from a place of programming. And this can also, something that just came to mind is generational trauma. So it might be something that you're not even aware of. It might be something that's just been passed down through your lineage that you're meant to heal. And maybe this is the month that you are going to really kind of be making progress on that, and be ready to kind of release it, to see the ways that your beliefs and your mind have been deceiving you and maybe not supporting your best interest. And further connecting with your intuition and your feelings and allowing those to guide you a little bit more. And just incorporating a little bit more depth into your life, and depth in terms of emotion and happiness and fulfillment, and not just depth of emotion in terms of like the struggle, right? Okay, Scorpio, I'm going to get you some affirmations because I think that's everything with the cards. You do have a lot of cups here, a lot of water energy. So that tells me emotions are a main focus this month, or have been really influential in terms of what you're dealing with. Oh, all four of them came out at once. That's perfect. So your first, I welcome abundance and will pay attention to the guidance I receive. So that definitely speaks to following your heart, your emotions. So it could be your feelings, it could be a gut feeling or a knowing, something that you know that you can't really justify or explain. That's intuition. Being willing to acknowledge that and follow it and honor it instead of being fearful or questioning it, because that's a big part of you kind of coming into abundance on all levels. I am ready to receive love. So love, joy, and happiness, those are things that are meant to be in your life, that you're meant to be receiving. And it's important for you to prioritize opportunities for that, especially with all of these cups here. It's part of who you are. It's going to help you stay connected to your light and your inspiration and your passion, and really fortify you, especially in whatever it is you're trying to create in your collaborations with others. So treating yourself with love, loving yourself, taking care of yourself, receiving love from others, and allowing others in, prioritizing that in your life is really important. And then it says, and make decisions from a place of intuition and power. So again, it's basically like, I don't think I could choose cards that would be more aligned with this whole energy. Is basically saying like, you have the ability to access your inner wisdom, your higher knowledge, your intuition, your emotions. Those are really good markers for you in terms of what is right and what is wrong, and helping you follow your path. And so you have access to that, and that is what your power is, and that is going to take you in the most aligned direction for you. And then finally, we have sleep is a spiritual practice. So maybe you're not getting enough sleep, maybe you're not getting enough rest. That is definitely something to be aware of and to prioritize, especially if you're a bit of a workaholic, especially if you've got a really long to-do list. And I think that's also with like not only prioritizing what you can do each day, I think it's being mindful just in general of how much is on your to-do list. Like, is your to-do list even feasible, really? Like, are you really reasonably able to accomplish everything that's on your list within a day? And not just accomplish it, but also live and exist, right? So be healthy in addition. So it's like making sure that you're setting reasonable goals for yourself, that you're not taking on more than you can handle, because that also psychologically is really difficult. That can take us to that really like low emotional place when we are setting goals that aren't attainable. So I'm not saying you need to like be an underachiever and make things too easy, but I'm saying like if your to-do list is so long that it's like really difficult for you to accomplish everything in a day, it's going to be really difficult not only for you to do that, but it's going to be hard for you to feel good about it, because whatever you do accomplish, chances are you're going to be focused on those things that are on your list that you didn't get to. And you don't want that expectation that wasn't necessarily reasonable to override all of the things that you did accomplish. And so I would say especially like it can be really tempting. It's like, oh, well, I'll just wake up really early to get this done, or I'll just stay up extra late. And maybe you're doing both. Like maybe you're burning the candle at both ends to try and get everything done. And it's like impacting you, because not getting enough sleep is also really going to be hard on you emotionally. It's going to make it a lot more difficult for you to be efficient in thinking and acting and making decisions and handling your responsibilities and your emotions. Sleep is really important. So if that's something that you're struggling with or you haven't been getting enough of, I would say start with prioritizing, and maybe chop a couple of things off of your to-do list. So make sure that like at the very least your list is comprised of things that you can reasonably get done within a day, so that you're not constantly overreaching and then having to overextend yourself to get there, because you're going to deplete yourself and then you're not going to have what you need to be successful. And that would be a real shame. So I would start with that. And then if that still doesn't work, and if you're kind of feeling like you can't keep up and things are getting away from you, it might be like being more mindful about what you've taken on, like what your capacity is. And maybe there's something that you need to deprioritize. Maybe there's something that you need to drop. Maybe there's a commitment that you need to kind of back out of for the time being. Or maybe there's just a way that you can delegate tasks to take some of those things that you don't have to do yourself off your plate, so you can focus on the things that really do require your time and attention, even if it's just for the short term, so that you can get caught up. But yeah, don't overextend yourself. Don't give up on your sleep, because you need it. You're doing big things. So it's going to be really important for you. But yeah, this looks like a great month overall, just for your emotional development, connection to self, enjoyment of love and relationships, working on your healing, bringing things to light, and just coming to a deeper level of trust in yourself. But the biggest thing is really connecting with that loving energy, that childlike energy, playing, enjoying. And it doesn't have to be, throwing things out of balance, like escaping all of your responsibilities to do that, but integrating that into your daily life and balancing things out. I think that's really going to help you feel a little bit more fulfilled, and it's probably going to help you come to a realization of the things that you can kind of let go of to lighten your load and to make whatever it is that you're working on so hard to make it a little bit easier for you, more sustainable. That's it. Maybe the speed that you're moving forward at is not sustainable right now, and it's just a matter of kind of just adjusting your approach and your priorities. And I think this is going to be a really great month for that. So Scorpio, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that made sense and it resonated for you. I would love if you were to comment and share how it resonates. If you enjoyed this reading, please feel free to like and share with other people that you know. And you can always head over to my channel at Bright Soul Collective Tarot, check out my other readings, and subscribe to my channel so that you can get notifications and access to videos as soon as they're posted. But thank you so much for being here and sharing this space for me, space with me, sorry. It's been an absolute pleasure to read for you, and I'm super excited to read for you again in the future. And in the meantime, I'm wishing you all the very best.